everyone, it is great to see you here once again on Dee's Delights. You're going to join me today for a first. I am going to try to make easy homemade bread. We'll see how easy it is. This is my first time. I've made biscuits, rolls, all that kind of stuff, but my first time making an actual loaf of bread. I'm a little nervous because it doesn't always turn out good, I've heard. So I'll see. And I don't have a bread maker, but I do have a stand mixer, and I'm going to be using that today. What you're going to need is only about 6 ingredients. 2 cups of warm water, which needs to be at about 110 degrees, no higher than that. 1/2 cup of white sugar. 1.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast, which would be equivalent to about 2 packets if my math is correct, because 1 packet equals 2¼ teaspoon. So that would be 4½ teaspoons, which should be pretty close to 1½ tablespoons. I think my math is all right. 1½ teaspoons of salt, 1/4 cup vegetable oil, and 5 to 6 cups of flour. You can use all-purpose or bread flour. I have some bread flour that I need to use up, so I'm going to be using that today. So what you're going to need, I'm going to mix everything in my stand mixer. It says in a large bowl, dissolve 1 tablespoon of the sugar. So we're going to scoop out 1 tablespoon of this sugar in warm water and then stir in the yeast. We're going to do 2 cups of warm water. It's at about 113. I'm going to let it cool down to about 110. I don't want to kill the yeast, because I need all the help I can get here, folks. One other thing we're going to do, my house is cold. I do not heat up my house during the winter months. So, I actually have heat, but I don't turn it up high. So what I'm going to do here in a little bit, right before we're ready to take the bread out of here, I am going to turn my oven on to 200, heat it up to that for 1 to 2 minutes, shut it off. That's where I'm going to put my bread then, to let it rise. The house is too cold, it'll never rise. Let's get our 1 tablespoon sugar ready. Just scoop out 1 tablespoon. I think we're close enough. Yep, time to put it in. 1 tablespoon of sugar in warm water. I'll mix that together. Now we'll add the yeast. Then I'm going to stir the yeast in. We're going to let that set for about 5 minutes. Should get a little foamy looking, I'm hoping. Hopefully my yeast is still good. In the meantime, I'm going to measure out my flour. I need 5 to 6 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 6, and if I don't need it then, I won't use it. If it says 5 to 6, probably won't need 6. Oh, it's starting to get foamy. It's working. You can see it's starting to foam up. That's a good sign. Very good, very good. I'm happy. Okay, let's get our 1/4 cup of vegetable oil ready. Don't spill it. Do not spill it. I have a habit of tumbling things over here on the counter. It says here 1½ teaspoons of salt, which would be equivalent to 1/2 tablespoon. So I'm going to go ahead and have that measured out. And once I start to knead the dough in the stand mixer, then I'm going to heat my oven to 200 degrees, give it time to warm up, then I'll shut it off. All right, it's foamy, it's good. I'll let you look here, it's been 5 minutes. I don't know if you can see it that good, but it's definitely foamy. So next, let's go ahead, mix the remaining sugar. We used 1/2 cup, so it's a little under 1/2 cup. Salt, which is 1/2 tablespoon. And oil, which is 1/4 cup. I'm going to mix that around. Now we'll mix in flour 1 cup at a time. We're going to mix this on low. Let's scrape it off the sides a little bit. Okay, and this will be 5. I do not think I'm going to need 6. the side of the bowl gets clean. I think that might help. So that was about 5.5 cups. We don't want to overdo it, else we'll have a dry loaf of bread. Look, me, the professional here, who has never made it before. The rest I'm going to do by hand, and I'm going to test it. I'm going to put a little flour on the countertop. It is a little sticky yet. I think I'm just going to put a little bit here. Do it this way. That just a little bit there. I think that's good. So we probably use total of 5.5 cups. Yeah, that's good. Don't want to add any more. My oven is almost at 200 degrees. Let's go ahead, get my bowl ready. We want it to, I think, double in size. Yeah. It's going to have to sit for about 1 hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in my greased bowl. And I'm going to flop it over. Tell you what, I'm just going to cover it with parchment paper. I'm going to spray that. Cooking spray, put it on top. Now it's going to go into the oven for 1 hour. I'm going to take mine out here in about 3 minutes. I think 45 minutes is going to be enough since I had it in the warm oven. And probably anywhere between 175 to 200, but remember to shut that oven off. So I'm just going to lightly flour the surface of my countertop before I knead this bread. I'm going to do a little experiment. This makes 2 loaves of bread. I'm going to do 1 loaf in a 9x5 pan. And then I have some mini loaves. I'll maybe get 4 little mini loaves out of that. See how that works out. Of course, I won't bake the mini loaves as long. And the perfect temperature, according to one lady, is 190 to 200. That means that the bread is fully cooked if you get that to the center of the bread. I don't know, folks. This is just an experiment for me. Now that oven is still warm, so I'm not going to turn it back on for the second rise. So you can see that definitely doubled in size. So I'm going to knead it for a little bit. For about a minute. Is that a minute? I'm not patient. It's nice and warm. Now, of course, if you are in a summer climate, a warmer climate, just put it in the bowl and set it out on the back porch. It'll definitely be warm enough. But here, it's winter. Not good. And the house is cold. I'm going to spray this. And I'll cut it in half. Make sure your pan is well greased. I'm going to go ahead, put that in there, kind of oblong. I got about 5. Now we're going to let them sit for another 30 minutes. A little baby one, but I'm not going to use that. Okay, I'm going to put them back in this warm oven. I did not turn it back on. It only took about 20 minutes for my little loaves to rise. I'm waiting for the big loaf to rise. Then we're going to bake at 350 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes for the big loaves. I'll start checking these at about 20. So when they reach an internal temperature of about 190 to 200, they'll be baked the whole way through. Then once they cool just ever so slightly, we're going to top them with butter and let them cool for about 10 to 15 minutes before you take them out of the pan. You do not want to let them in these pans for too long, else moisture will build up and your bread will get soggy. So I'll be back shortly. Da, 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 da. Have you ever had beer bread? I should try that sometime. Used to get it, I forget what company we used to get that from. People would sell it and it was really good. Maybe sometime I'll make beer bread, see how that turns out. Because these kind of smell like beer. Not that I, drink a lot of beer to be an expert. The old ticker won't take it, but I do know what it smells like from my college days, which was a long, 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 long time ago. Okay, I checked these in 15 minutes. They're done. This one's going off to the oven about 200 degrees, so we don't want to get it much more than that. I'm going to let them sit there for about 10 minutes, then I'm going to put them on the cooling rack so they don't get moisture buildup. Little loaves of bread. Cool beans. All right, these have cooled just a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and lightly cover them with butter. While I am waiting for the other loaf of bread to bake, I'm going to go ahead and try some. Put a little butter on top. It's good. Yeah, very good. Nice and soft. Just a little hint of chewiness. The little loaves only took about 15 minutes to bake. That might be the way I'm going to go from here on out. That way you can give little loaves away. That is really good. I don't know if the bread flour made a difference, but it's not dry. Those are easy to manage too. They cool a lot quicker. Oh, I like the baby loaves. That's the way it's going to be from now on. Who needs a big loaf when you can do all of these little baby loaves? I might need another pan though. 24 minutes on that. So I'll let that cool for about 10 minutes before I take it out of the pan and let it finish cooling on the rack. There we go. Let that cool. All right.
Very good flavor.
It does have a good flavor.
Yes, it does. It's not hard. I mean, it's firm, but it's
It's
not.
firm, but it's not hard. It's not dense. And I think that's from the bread flour. I don't know if all-purpose would have made it just a little lighter and fluffier, but the flavor is good. It's not dry. It's just a little bit more of a chewier texture.
It's good though.
Yeah, it is good. So here it is. So thanks for joining us here once again on Dee's Delights. We hope you have a fabulous week, everyone. We'll see you real soon.